Welcome to the short video around DevOps. And this topic of today is processes. Because remember in the last video, or a few videos before, DevOps is a layered model. And in the heart is about tools. And because without tools, without automation, no DevOps. Because remember, it is very much focused on delivery of value in the hands of an end user, and it's very fast and very often and in a safe way. But even the best pipeline in the world, if you can deploy every hour to production, there will be other things that's stopping ultra-fast delivery that are enterprise processes. So let's dive a little bit more into the enterprise processes. I'm not going to talk about them all because I want to spend only a few minutes. So I'm going to pick out a few. The first one is HR and organizational structure. Because ideally you have autonomous teams who can deploy changes to production all by themselves, and you don't need much handoffs and waiting time because remember you want to deploy every hour, every day, every week to production. So ideally the teams are autonomous, and what you typically saw in an older or traditional organization is that you have an organization organized by roles. You have a front-end developer, back-end developer, database testers, environment specialists, architects, and every time you have a handoff and approval, so you need people, you need to wait for that. So that's not working. So ideally, you need to have autonomous teams. So you need to look at your organizational structure and also your HR processes around that. Compliance and risk, for example. So remember, in a traditional organization, you typically have a steering group, and a project manager rocks up every month to the steering group and has a red, amber, green report, and it shows also hours burned, features delivered, defects found, and lots of other information. But yeah, that's every month. And if you want to deploy daily to production, that will not work anymore. It does not mean you don't need it anymore because risk and compliance is very important. But you need to change your processes around it. Another one is change and release, the CAP, Change Advisory Board. What you typically saw in a traditional organization is the CAP is meeting every week, and then all the production changes 2 weeks in advance are looked at, and the project manager and the team need to make a lot of documentation to make sure that the change is sound, and then the change advisory board decides yes or no. That will not work anymore if you want to deploy every day to production. You still need change and release because it's not Wild West. Teams cannot deploy like crazy in production because that gives problems. But you need to align your processes with ultra fast delivery. Still need to be in place. Another one is testing. What you very often saw was that you have testing teams that are not in the project team, or even it's outsourced, and a test manager has testers, and the test manager creates a test plan, and in the end the test output with, for example, and during testing defects are found and triage meetings are held with lots of people. That still need to be done, but you want to deploy very often to production. So ideally, the testing people are in the autonomous teams. That's very important. So this gives a little bit of an idea of what problems are there compared to traditional delivery, waterfall, and a little bit more modern like Agile and DevOps. And all those processes still need to be around. They need to be there, but they need to be better aligned with ultra fast delivery. And sometimes that's very hard because you're dealing with a lot of people and a lot of teams, and those processes are ingrained in the organization because they worked really well 25 years for waterfall delivery, but not necessarily for ultra fast delivery. So that's quite hard to change. So this is often very difficult to do. But how it best to approach this is using those influences and then look at, for example, have lean processes or make sure you have continuous improvement. Don't do a big bang of changing all your processes in one go. Look what process is hurting you the most. Maybe CAP, maybe testing, maybe risk and compliance, and then iteratively or continuously improve. So make small changes and see if it works, and if it works, then keep doing it, and if it doesn't work, don't do it. And also theory of constraints. Where is the biggest bottleneck? Tackle that first, and then look at the next process. So that might help you in changing your processes. And that was about the processes. So I thank you for watching. If you like the video, put your thumbs up, have some comments maybe, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.